My girlfriend broke up with me and made me cry, and my boss saw this as a weakness and fired me for being a weak man not worthy of his business. Okay, so this happened about 2 hours ago. First of all, a little backstory. I'm a 25-year-old male living in Iran, which is a very crappy country to live in or be born in. Everything here sucks and is incredibly hard, including finding a job. I have been unemployed since COVID hit my country and just recently managed to finally find a job. COVID is still raging here since they won't vaccinate us, so most of the time we work from home. I was dating this girl for about 9 months, which I know isn't a long time, but since I'm leaving the country in a few months forever, I really invested myself in this relationship because we planned to leave together, and everything was going so smoothly. My anxiety was practically gone, and I was really happy after a really long life of being depressed. Yesterday, out of nowhere, she broke up with me and told me that she wasn't feeling the relationship anymore and that I'm a really good guy, but she doesn't want to hurt my feelings in the long run. This destroyed me, but I understood. I asked her to give us another chance, and she said no, it's better this way. She's a very honest person, so I believed her and left. I accepted the outcome, even though I immediately started crying. Anyway, today I'm still pretty bummed out, but I had to go to the office for a couple of hours, and my boss was there to help me, which was a big relief since I really didn't feel like working. I took a smoke break, got reminded of some memories, and started crying a little bit. I went back upstairs, and my boss immediately noticed I had been crying and insisted I tell him what happened, so I did. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Wow, you were crying over that? Such a weak person. I don't think you're a good fit for the company if that's the stuff you're worried about. I think you should leave." At this point, I started laughing because this was clearly a joke, right? Right? Wrong. He looked at me like I was insane and asked me to leave immediately. So, I packed up my stuff and did as I was told. Yesterday, I had a girlfriend whom I loved, a job, and a good future ahead of me. Now I'm just a guy who has to leave his country and everyone he loves because he was born in one of the worst places possible, and he's doing it completely alone and broken. Honestly, maybe boys shouldn't cry. Update 1 year 3 months later. I was contemplating not making this update because it's not the type of it all worked out in the end update, but since I promised one, here you go. When I created the original post, it was me shouting into the dark, and I didn't expect it to blow up, but it did, and you guys helped me through a lot of my anxiety. A couple of people even stayed in touch, and I gave them updates here and there. I wish I could tell you things worked out and that I'm happy in Germany starting a new life, but that didn't happen. I'll break this up into a timeline so it's easier to follow. September 2021. I found a job a month after I posted the original thread at a company based in the US. It was a remote job, and the CEO was Iranian. We were not documented, which is common because, most of the time, Iranian CEOs hire people outside of the US to pay them much less. This happens a lot. The pay was about $160 a month, and we had no benefits, but whatever, I was trying to save money to get out as soon as possible. March 2022. I started applying to schools in Germany and was confident I would get in because, a couple of years ago, my brother went through the same process and got in easily. I applied to 9 universities. A few rejected me because of my GPA, which is fair, and a few others accepted my application. At this time, my undergraduate degree wasn't ready because, in Iran, it takes a ridiculous amount of time and effort to get your degree. May 2022. A small protest happened outside my school in support of a girl who was sexually assaulted. Since the person who did that to her had a powerful dad, the girl got arrested, and he didn't face any consequences. Also, since no news outlet covered it, we all gathered to support her. Long story short, I was arrested and expelled, which resulted in me not getting my diploma. Naturally, a couple of months later, the 2 schools that had accepted my provisional application without my degree requested it. I couldn't provide it, so understandably, they had to move forward with other applicants. I also left my job because I realized we were being overworked for little to no money. Whenever we asked for a raise, they always found a way to avoid it. Honestly, the CEO had promised every employee that he'd help them move to the US at some point, which was obviously a lie. They just wanted us to work for them as much as possible until they could afford actual on-site employees. September 2022. Protests broke out, and I left Iran for a neighboring country because it wouldn't be safe for me. I was fairly active on social media about the whole situation, and a few thousand people followed me. 3 days after I left, they showed up at my house in Iran and tried to arrest me, but luckily, I wasn't there. If I go back to Iran, I won't make it past airport security. For the past 2 months, I've been trying to find a job, but I haven't been successful. I have a half-decent resume, but I keep getting rejected because of the country I'm in right now. I'm exhausted and out of options. I'm burning through my savings, and in a few weeks, I'll either be homeless or have to go back to Iran and get arrested. I'm in a really dark place and have little to no hope for what's to come. I miss my friends and my family. I just wanted a normal life. I know I'm being pathetic, and I didn't want to post this. I wanted something good to happen so I could update you guys with happy news, but everything keeps getting worse. This will probably be my last post on this matter and on Reddit. Sorry if I let you guys down. Second update 2 years 1 month later. First of all, I'm writing this here because I can't, for the life of me, figure out how to post on any of the previous subreddits without it getting removed. I don't think this will reach far, but to those who are interested, here we go. A couple of very kind Redditors reached out after my last post and helped me through those tough times, for which I will be immensely thankful forever. If it weren't for them, I'd either be dead or not where I am today. A couple of months after my post, I found someone who provided me with shelter and food in exchange for work on his farm. I also started tutoring his daughter, for which he paid me, and I saved up bit by bit. In the meantime, I managed to obtain my university transcripts from Iran, had them translated, and applied to 2 universities in Germany. I had little to no hope, considering where life had put me. I missed home, I missed family, but bit by bit, things were looking up. I got accepted into one of those universities, obtained my visa after 2 months, and now I'm in Germany. I did it. Finally. Now, I had the small problem of having to block 12,000 euros in a bank account to show that I could financially support myself. Obviously, I couldn't, and I only had a very tiny portion of that money. I did everything to get it, borrowing from whoever I could. It felt terrible to do so, but I just had to get somewhere safe. Also, the way that system works guaranteed that I wouldn't be able to pay it back soon, so it was a nightmare. But I got it done anyway. And now I'm in Germany. I do have a pretty dainty debt problem, but I am here nonetheless. In fact, I've been here for a year, studying, finding a place, making friends, and everything. Since I didn't speak a word of German and lived in a very small town, I only recently was able to find a job. The debt problem still remains, but otherwise, it's been great. I have more freedom and security than I have ever had. I even found someone, and we are really happy together. I have to mention, though, that 2 years ago, I was deeply involved in the protests in Iran, mainly on social media. For my safety, I couldn't disclose my whereabouts, but now I can, and I want to. I was in Turkey, and life was tough. However, some people in that country are just incredible. They took me in and helped me a lot, and at times, it even felt like home. So, to the people of Turkey, thank you for that. I had to hide from the VIA, Iran's Ministry of Intelligence, because they wouldn't leave me be, and you really helped me with that. For my next chapter, not that anybody cares, I have decided to change everything and start from the ground up. I'm going to pursue politics and make real change happen because I don't want anyone to go through what I have. I know it's nearly impossible to achieve, but that doesn't mean I won't try. I really want to help my people, and that's going to be my life's purpose now. Being in debt is a little scary. I hope I can manage to get out of it. But hey, I survived far worse things, so fingers crossed, I hope I can manage. I want to thank the incredible people who helped me during this time, and I want to thank the person who reposted my post on r/best of Redditor updates. You are an absolute legend. Relevant comments. Commenter. I'm so glad the community was there to support him when he was going through such a terrible time. I can't even imagine living in a dark country during a dark time, thinking you were millimeters from getting out, only to have your girlfriend dump you and your job let you go, killing any chance of a quick escape. It must have seemed insurmountable at the time, and he could have taken a path he couldn't come back from, but finding support here helped him mentally move forward. This can be a brutal place, but in cases like this, where someone has no one to vent to or express themselves to, I'm glad we're here to be the void that supports and answers back in times of need. Ops response. Honestly, it feels really good when you see empathy in others. I don't want to be dramatic, but I hadn't known a good night's sleep for years before I came here. The first day I arrived in Germany, I think I slept for 14 hours in just one day. I slept so much in the first week, and I didn't even know why. It wasn't until later that I realized how exhausted I was from years of trauma. Commenter 2. Second-generation immigrant here. Life is never easy for immigrants. I saw how tough it was for my parents, who fled their birth country and became war refugees, but with enough determination, they made it work. Things will improve as long as you're willing to make the effort. You'll probably have to spend more energy than local residents, have fewer opportunities, less of a safety net, and fewer chances to fail. That's reality. But your previous experiences have likely made you more resilient and given you adaptation skills that your peers may not have, so make the best out of the cards life has dealt you. From a practical point of view, do you have a concrete plan for building your future life? Do you have a financial plan to sustain yourself in the foreseeable future? What would it take to gain long-term residency or citizenship in your new country? Good luck. Ops response. That is great advice indeed. For now, I plan on studying and graduating from university. I'm trying to make connections, as I know finding a job is not the easiest task in Germany. However, I am putting every extra hour I get into writing against the regime in Tehran. The minute I get a chance to return safely, I will go back to Iran to pursue real change. I have grown so much since my first post about my country. I used to hate it and hate the fact that I was born there, but now it's completely different. I am writing to people of all ages and beliefs in Iran to try to have an impact, and fortunately, a decent number of people listen. I hope to grow from there.